Hello everybody, welcome back to one of my favorite videos to do every month, and that is to look ahead at next month's new book releases. This is one of my favorite videos to do every single month, so let's go ahead and pull up Goodreads and get to looking. As always, I'm gonna go ahead and start with authors that I've read from before. I feel like I might have a little bit more of an opinion because I already kind of know their style, and it looks like there's actually a ton for September. Up first, we have, I love this cover, it's called Tourist Season. This is from Bryn Weaver. This is the first in the Seasons of Carnage trilogy. This is expected to come out September 23rd. So Bryn Weaver wrote the Butcher and Blackbird trilogy. I only read Butcher and Blackbird and I actually did not like it at all, so maybe this could be something I'm interested in. It says, welcome to Cape Carnage. Visit once, stay forever. Cape Carnage is a seaside town of colorful houses, quirky shops, and an unusually high body count. That sounds so cute for a setting. But with tourists comes trouble, and Harper Starling won't let anyone ruin her picture-perfect home. A skilled gardener with killer instincts, Harper protects her sanctuary at any cost, especially for her aging mentor with a fading memory. Troublesome tourists don't check out of Carnage, they compost beneath Harper's award-winning flower beds, okay. But Nolan Rhodes isn't your average tourist. Devilishly handsome, disarmingly charming, I hated that, disarmingly charming, okay. And skilled with a blade, Nolan is relentless in the pursuit of revenge. On every anniversary of the hit-and-run accident that fractured his life, Nolan slays another target, and he's saved the best for last, the undeniably beautiful Harper Starling. The problem, Harper isn't the monster he expected, and she won't go down without a fight. When an amateur true crime investigator comes to Camp Carnage on the trail of a long-lost serial killer, Harper and Nolan strike an uneasy truce. If Nolan helps Harper protect her town, she'll keep quiet about his hunting habits for now. But their alliance soon spirals into obsession, one that threatens to shatter every secret in Carnage, including their fragile love. Fourth Season is a darkly funny, slow-burn enemies-to-lovers romance where destruction and desire are balanced on the edge of a blade and where love is the most dangerous battleground of all. This literally sounds so similar to Butcher and Blackbird. I don't think I'll be reading this just because I didn't enjoy that. I'll see what some of the reviews say, especially by people that also didn't enjoy Butcher and Blackbird, but it sounds cute. I just don't think it's for me. However, this definitely sounds like it's for me. This is Fake Skating from Lynn Painter. This is expected to come out September 30th. I am obsessed with Lynn Painter's YA romances, and this one should be no exception. It says, from playdates on the playground to sneaking into movie theaters, Danny and Alec were inseparable as kids until Danny moved away. Years later, Danny is back in Minnesota and excited to reconnect with the nerdy and comforting Alec, but teenage Alec is nothing like the boy she remembers. He's the hockey star in a town where hockey players are worshipped as gods, and he loves it. When one thing leads to another and Danny and Alec find themselves thrown together and playing the role of boyfriend and girlfriend. Fake dating. I love it. Complicated becomes an understatement. In this Minnesota town, hockey may rule, but romance is about to take its place. A swoony boy next door fake dating romance. This sounds right up my alley. Oh, I absolutely cannot wait. I will definitely be reading this. Another one that I will absolutely be reading because I actually do have it pre-ordered is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. This is expected to come out September 9th. Now, I've only ever read one Rachel Harrison, but I own like 3, and this will be my 4th because I just really loved her writing. I read Black Sheep and I am obsessed with that. This says, I think it's Cleo. Cleo Louise Barnes leads a picture-perfect life as a stylist and influencer, but beneath the glossy veneer she harbors a not-so-glamorous secret. She grew up in a haunted house. Oh, this sounds so great. Well, not haunted, possessed. Oh, okay. After Cleo's parents' messy divorce, her mother, Alex, moved Cleo and her sisters into a house occupied by a demon, or so Alex claimed. That's not what Cleo's sisters remember, or what the courts determined when they stripped Alex of custody after she went off the deep end. But Alex was insistent. She even wrote a book about her experience in the house. This sounds like Home Before Dark. After Alex's sudden death, the supposedly possessed house passes to Cleo and her sisters. Where her sisters see childhood trauma, Cleo sees an opportunity for house flipping content. Only as the home makeover process begins, Cleo discovers there might be some truth to her mother's claims. As memories resurface and Cleo finally reads her mother's book, the presence in the house becomes more real and more sinister, revealing ugly truths that threaten to shake Cleo's beautiful life to its very foundation. This sounds like Home Before Dark, but like Rachel Harrison's spin on it. She tends to have more funny, campy horror, and I've heard this is pretty scary, so I'm really excited for this one. Like I said, I do have it pre-ordered already. I can't wait to read this. I'm 100% reading this in October. Seeing this book is so crazy to me because I had absolutely no idea that Bunny was going to get a sequel, but this is We Love You, Bunny from Mona Awad. This is expected September 23rd. I'm not too sure how much of this I want to read to you just because it is a sequel, and I don't necessarily like to talk about like continuations in series just because if you haven't read the first one, I don't want to spoil anything. But I'm just gonna read it quickly to myself. I don't think this will give too much away. Bunny in itself is just an absolute fever dream. So this first paragraph here talks about Bunny. It says, in the cult classic novel Bunny, Samantha Heather Mackey, who's a lonely outsider student at a highly selective MFA program in New England, was first ostracized and then seduced by a clique of creepy, sweet, rich girls who call themselves Bunny. She has an invitation to the Bunny smut salon, which leads Samantha down a dark rabbit hole, unintended, into the violently surreal world of their off-campus workshops where monstrous creations are conjured with deadly and wondrous consequences. And then it says, when We Love You Bunny opens, Sam has just published her first novel to critical acclaim, but at a New England stop on her book tour, her one-time frenemies, furious at the way they've been portrayed, kidnap her. Now a captive audience, it's her and our turn to hear the Bunny's side of the story. One by one, they take turns holding the axe and recount the birth throes of their unholy alliance, their discovery of their unusual creative powers, and the phantasmagoric adventure of conjuring their first creation. With a bound and gagged Sam, we embark on a wickedly intoxicating journey into the heart of dark academia, a fairy tale slasher that explores the wonder and horror of creation itself, not to mention the transformative powers of love and friendship, Bunny. It says it's both a prequel and a sequel, which makes sense. It sounds like they all meet up with her and they all talk about what happened and they recount their stories. So this could be interesting. Will I read it? Honestly, probably not. I gave Bunny a really low rating. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of the fever dream situation. I just felt confused the entire time. I'm interested to see what other people who did enjoy Bunny think of this. And I have a little Millie right here. She's also interested in We Love You Bunny. There are so many books coming out by authors that I've read from before. This is kind of exciting. Okay, so the title of this is like pretty creepy and I'm kind of interested in it. This is called Spread Me by Sarah Gailey. This is expected to come out September 23rd. Sarah Gailey, she wrote the September House, or no, Just Like Home. I think she wrote Just Like Home. These covers are kind of the same, which is crazy. Spread Me is a darkly seductive tale of survival from Sarah Gailey after a routine probe at a research station turns deadly when the team discovers a strange specimen in search of a warm place to stay. Okay, alien. Kinsey has the perfect job as the team lead in a remote research outpost. She loves the solitude and the way the desert keeps her far away from the temptations teeming out in the civilian world. When her crew discovers a mysterious specimen buried deep in the sand, Kinsey breaks quarantine and brings it into the hab. But the longer it's inside, the more her carefully controlled life begins to unravel. Temptation has found her after all, and it can't be ignored any longer. One by one, Kinsey's team realizes the thing they're studying is in search of a new host, and one of them is the perfect candidate. This is a sci-fi horror, which I tend to really love, and I hate to say this, but the fact that like it looks so similar to Just Like Home, but it's orange, and it has kind of a similar cover, makes me want it just to like have those two on my shelves. But I will also, oh, it does say author of Just Like Home. You know, I can read. I don't know, we'll see what other people say, but it does look really interesting. Next we have another start of what probably is a little romantic series. This is very cute. This is called Crazy Spooky Love by Josie Silver. This is expected to come out September 2nd, so very soon. It's the start of Melody Bittersweet, not sure what that means. In the leafy, charming town, I love when they say charming, of Chapelwick, the Bittersweet family has been a fixture on High Street for as long as anyone can remember. Their rambling black and white building houses, all three generations of ghost-sensitive bittersweet women and their business blithe spirits. What? Their rambling black and white building houses, all three generations of ghost-sensitive bittersweet women and their business blithe spirits. Does that sentence make sense to anyone else? I don't know. On her 27th birthday, Melody Bittersweet converts the disused back storeroom into her office and opens her own business. Unlike the rest of her family, she's not taking down messages from ghosts, she's taking them out. Soon, the girls' ghost-busting agency takes on its this does not make sense. First, a grand old house that won't sell because a trio of incumbent ghost brothers raise merry hell whenever prospective owners arrive to view it. That's Casper. It soon becomes clear that there's a whole heap of unfinished business between the Scarborough brothers, including murder, and Melody isn't the only one trying to unravel the mystery. Leo Dark, her rakish ex and business rival, is also on the case, along with the TV crew that trails him. To make matters worse, the sarcastic and skeptical and annoyingly good-looking local reporter Fletcher Gunn, these names, has his nose in the story as well, sniffing out a way to publicly discredit the Bittersweets as his favorite assignment and has absolutely nothing to do with his inability to resist Melody. With her business on the line, it's up to Melody to work out the brothers' issues, but can she protect her own very susceptible heart from Fletcher's charm? Does she even want to? This synopsis is a mess. It sounds like a mixture of Casper and a love story. I don't think I'm that interested, if I'm being so honest with you. If it was more like Casper, I probably would, but That's something. Ooh, we have another book from Alison Cochrane. This is Every Step She Takes. This is expected again September 2nd. 35-year-old Seattleite Sadie Wells needs an escape. She's desperate to escape her monotonous routines, the family business that has consumed her entire life, and the unexpected gay panic that has her questioning everything she thought she knew about herself. When her injured sister offers Sadie her place on a tour along Portugal's Camino de Santiago, she decides this is the perfect chance to get away from it all. After 3 glasses of wine on the plane and some turbulence convince Sadie she won't even survive the flight, same. She confesses all her secrets to her seatmate, Mal. Then the plane doesn't crash, and it turns out Mal is on her Camino tour. Worst of all, Sadie learns that she is on a tour specifically for queer women, and that her 200-mile trek will be a journey of self-discovery, whether she wants it to be or not. Fascinated by the woman who drunkenly came out to her on the plane, Mal offers to help Sadie relive the queer adolescence she missed out on as they walk the Camino. As Sadie develops her newfound confidence, Mal grapples with a complicated loss and unexpected inheritance, but as their relationship blurs the lines between reality and practice, they both must decide if they will forever part at the end of the tour or chart a new course together. It says, with funny, poignant prose, Alison Cochrane explores the power of letting go of your past and realizing that it's never too late to live as your authentic self. This sounds really cute. The other Alison Cochrane I read, which was Kiss Her Once for me, was really sweet. It was like a very cute little wintry Christmas sapphic read. I'm interested in this one. This feels like something Book of the Month would pick, but I'm not sure if I'll pick it up right away. I might also see what reviews say. This is another one I'm really excited about. This is called Make Me a Monster by Kaylin Bayron. This is expected September 30th. I read You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Bayron. It was a YA horror. I absolutely loved it. It was like a horror camp, summer camp slasher. It was amazing. This also is another young adult horror fantasy from Kaylin Bayron. This says she's back with a Frankenstein-tinged horror romance. That sounds amazing. It says Mecca is used to death. After all, it's the family business. As a newly certified mortician's assistant at her parents' funeral home, her days are not for the faint of heart. Luckily, her boyfriend Noah isn't squeamish, and Mecca is finally feeling ready to say the 3 little words that will change everything. But then tragedy strikes and Mecca's world is torn apart. Nothing makes sense, especially the strange things start happening. Okay. Ravens are circling her home, strangers are following her, someone is leaving mysterious items at her door, and worst of all, the dead don't seem to be staying dead. Mecca thought she understood death better than anyone. Turns out the family business is a bit more complicated than it seems, and Mecca isn't the only one desperate to unearth their secrets because the truth may be worth dying for. I think it sounds really good. I think it's gonna be great. I'm excited for it, and I love the cover, and I honestly think I'll read anything that Kaylin Bayron writes. I know I said it, but I'll say it again. There are so many by authors I've read from before. Oh, this one is so cute, from Hannah Grace. This is Holiday Ever After. This is expected September 30th. It says Clara Davenport wants to solve Fraser Falls' biggest problem. According to Jack Kelly, Clara is Fraser Falls' biggest problem. Okay. All Clara Davenport has ever wanted to do is climb the ladder at Davenport Innovation Creative, her family's toy business. Oh my god, this is gonna be a Christmas romance. Everything was going according to plan until the company was accused of stealing a doll design from an independent toy maker, creating a flurry of bad publicity. With a promotion dangled in front of her like a carrot to a reindeer, Clara is tasked with charming the locals of the small town to solve the PR nightmare by any means necessary. Jack Kelly would be happy to never hear the name Davenport ever again. Less than a year after a guy in a fancy suit appeared on his doorstep with a sleigh full of promises, the company that once falsely claimed they wanted to sign him to their small business program has copied his design. It's his design. So when Clara prances into town hoping to convince Fraser Falls that her company is not the enemy, Jack is determined not to be fooled by Davenport twice. But Clara has a plan to win over the community, only to realize that beneath Jack's frosty demeanor lies the key to the town's heart and maybe her own. Okay, this actually sounds really freaking cute. I don't know. I might read it. That sounds like really adorable. There's only a couple more from authors that I've read from before that I'm kind of interested in. This first one is called Mad Mabel by Sally Hepworth. I really like this cover. This is expected September 30th. It says there are 2 kinds of people no one ever expects to be: little girls and old ladies. Elsie Mabel Fitzpatrick is 81 years old. She's lived on her idyllic street for 60 years, longer than anyone else. Aside from being a curmudgeon who minds everyone else's business, few would suspect that Elsie has a past she's worked exceedingly hard at concealing, because once it comes to murder, no one ever suspects little girls or old ladies. And Elsie Mabel Fitzpatrick, once a little girl and now an old lady, has a strange history of people in her life coming to a foul end. That is literally the entire synopsis. I would like a pinch more, but also this cover really kind of speaks to me. All right, this is the last one from authors that I've read from before. I'm excited that there's so much. Like, that's exciting. This is called The House of Quiet by Kirsten White. This is expected September 9th. If you can hear my stomach making the most disgusting sounds ever, I am so sorry. This says, a dark fantasy about a girl who will do anything to find her sister, including posing as a maid to infiltrate the mysterious House of Quiet. To save her sister, she must enter the house. In the middle of a deadly bog, I love a bog, It's the House of Quiet. It's a place for children whose procedure triggered powers too terrible to be lived with, their last hope for treatment. No one knows how they're healed or where they go afterward. Birdie has begged, bargained, and blackmailed her way inside as a maid, determined to find her missing sister Magpie. Birdie and Magpie. But what she discovers is more mysteries. Instead of the destitute children who undergo the procedure in hopes of social advancement, the house brims with aristocratic teens wielding strange powers they never should have been burdened with. This sounds like Miss Peregrine's. Miss Peregrine's Home for Children? Something children. Though Birdie wants to ignore them, she can't help being drawn to a stoic and silent forest, charmed by clever River, and concerned for the youngest residents. And with fellow maid Minnow, their names are so cute. Keeping tabs on everything Birdie does, danger is everywhere. In her desperate search for Magpie, Birdie unearths terrifying threats and devastating truths, forcing her to confront just how much she's willing to sacrifice to save her own sister. Because in the House of Quiet, if you find what's lurking beneath, you lose everything. Unravel the mystery, ignite the rebellion. What? That took a little bit of a turn. This, like I said, this sounds like Miss Peregrine's or Miss Peregrine's, but adult version, I believe. No, it's young adult. I don't know how I feel quite yet. I'll think about it. Now let's just take a look at some other new releases by authors that maybe I haven't read from before. Or maybe I have, because last month we discovered that. Looks like we have a new start of a series here from Lila Sage. This is called Soul Searching. It's the first in Sweetwater Peak. I actually really like this cover. Lila Sage wrote the cowboy romances, right, with the really cute covers. I feel like her covers are really good. This is expected to come out September 30th. It's a very long synopsis, so buckle in. Oh, what the heck? It says home is where the heart is, and this one is haunted. Is this a horror? Oh, it's a paranormal romance. I got really excited for a second. It says, Collins Cartwright does not want to go home. Sweetwater Peak, Wyoming was supposed to be in her rearview mirror, but when she finds out a developer is trying to buy her parents' antique shop out from under them, she doesn't have a choice. At least that's what she tells her family. They don't need to know she's lost her job and is out of money, or that the ghosts that have always been her companions have recently gone silent. But just because she's returned home doesn't mean she has to stay with her parents or crash on her twin sister's couch. Lucky for her, the new-to-town upholsterer has a room for rent above his store. Unluckily, it is absolutely crawling with more ghosts who are freezing her out, and Collins hates being ignored. Brady Cooper is absolutely and totally fine. Seriously, there's no secret reason why he decided to uproot his life and suddenly move to Sweetwater Peak. He just needed a change of pace. At least that's what he tells himself and everyone else. When he agrees to let the elusive Collins Cartwright stay in his spare room, he doesn't know that she's absolutely bonkers, constantly talking to herself and having conversations with no one, or that she looked like that. But as they begin to get closer, the lines between them start to blur, leaving both of them and the ghosts that have been pushing them together wondering whether or not their temporary arrangement could be something more permanent. That is not at all what I expected, honestly, but I am intrigued. And I guess maybe I could have expected ghosts by the cover, potentially, but no, not really. I'm intrigued. Okay, I really like this cover. This is called Alchemized by Senlin Yu. This is expected September 23rd. It says it's a riveting dark fantasy debut. A woman with missing memories fights to survive a war-torn world of necromancy and alchemy, and the man tasked with unearthing the deepest secrets of her past. Once a promising alchemist, Helena Marino is now a prisoner of war and of her own mind. Her resistance friends and allies have been brutally murdered, her abilities suppressed, and the world she knew destroyed. I really like this cover. Sorry, I can't stop looking at it. In the aftermath of a long war, Palladia's new ruling class of corrupt guild families and depraved necromancers whose vile undead creatures helped bring about their victory holds Helena captive. According to Resistance records, she was a healer of little importance within their ranks. But Helena has inexplicable memory loss of the months leading up to her capture, making her enemies wonder, is she truly as insignificant as she appears, or are her lost memories hiding some vital piece of the Resistance final gambit? To uncover the memories buried deep within her mind, Helena is sent to the High Reeve, one of the most powerful and ruthless necromancers in this new world. Trapped on his crumbling estate, Helena's, I keep changing it up, fight to protect her lost history and to preserve the last remaining shreds of her former self is just beginning. For her prison and captor have secrets of their own, secrets Helena must unearth, whatever the cost. I mean, this sounds pretty good. Holy smokes, it's over 1,000 pages though. I might have to really see some of these reviews before I start committing myself to a over 1,000-page book, especially the first one. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is really cute. This is called People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. This is expected September 9th. Another kind of contemporary romance. It says Prudence Welch has found solace in her introverted life in Baysville, a charming, love that word, tourist town in northern Ontario. Ontario? Despite once dreaming of a life beyond its borders, she now finds contentment in her working at her father's gas station, writing poetry and caring for her mother, who was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's shortly after Prue's 19th birthday. I love that her name is Prue. But as her mother's condition worsens and her father's concerns about her future intensify, Prue feels her world slipping further out of control. Enter Milo Kublikov, an enigmatic, I always see that word and mix it up in my head. enigmatic. Wanderer, whose beat-up van covered with ill-advised bumper stickers rolls into town just when Prue needs a change. It's all too easy to let go with him, and Prue can't help but strike up an unlikely friendship with Milo, which leads to a wild and sexy agreement between them. Milo, a man of many adventures and countless stories, is not one to settle down. However, his brother's urgent need for help has brought him to Baysville. Now the intriguing Prue has given him more reason to stay. Especially once they start spending more time together, their chemistry intensifying, and casual sex lessons start at Prue's request. But as their temporary arrangement blossoms into something deeper, Prue and Milo discover that getting out of their comfort zones is one thing. Taking that leap together is to something else entirely. This cover's really cute. I don't know. I always say I don't know when it comes to romances because I have to kind of see what other people think, but for the most part I always love a good romance, so I'll keep my eye on this one. Another romance, but this cover, is this not like a Gilmore Girls cover? Come on now. It's called If It Makes You Happy by Julie Olivia. This is expected September 2nd. My new next door neighbor seems to have everything figured out. Small town golden boy, check. Single dad extraordinaire, check. Hot baker forearms, I didn't notice them, I swear. I, on the other hand, don't at all have anything figured out. Trust me, I didn't think taking over my mom's dream bed and breakfast, okay, in Copper Run, Vermont was going to be easy. It should be a good place to heal after my divorce. This feels like Rory all grown up. But apparently my scones belong in the garbage with my small talk skills, as pointed out by none other than Cliff. Cliff is inescapable. He knows exactly what people need always. His charm, the way he wears flannel, and even his pastries make not wanting to be friends with Cliff and his daughters pretty hard. Friends, I can make friends, that's safe. Except I'm leaving in 3 months to pass the inn off to my little sister and get the promotion in Seattle I've been working towards. So ask me why I'm thinking about kissing my hot neighbor. Honestly, this sounds really cute. And I just really love the cover. I think the cover really does it for me. It might be the dog. Here we go. This is a cover. This is called Hot Wax by ML Rio. This is expected September 9th. Summer 1989, 10-year-old Suzanne is drawn like a magnet to her father's forbidden world of electric guitars and tricked out cars. When her mother remarries, she jumps at the chance to tag along on the concert tour that just might be Gil and the Kills' wild ride to glory. The fame has sharper fangs than anybody realized, and as the band blazes up the charts, internal power struggles set Gil and his group on a collision course destined for a bloody reckoning, one shrouded in mystery and lore for decades to come. Okay. The only witness to a desperate act of violence, Suzanne spends the next 29 years trying to disappear. She trades the music and mayhem of her youth for the quiet of the suburbs and the company of her mild-mannered husband Rob. But when her father's sudden death resurrects the troubled past she tried so hard to bury, she leaves it all behind and hits the road in search of answers, hitching her fate in Gil's beloved car to two vagabonds, who call an old Airstream trailer home. She finds everything she thought she'd lost forever: desire, adventure, and the woman she once wanted to be. But Rob refuses to let her go. Determined to bring her back to where she belongs, he chases her across the country and drives her to a desperation all her own. Drenched in knockdown, drag-out rock and roll, Hot Wax is a raucous? I can't read. A breakneck ride to hell and back, where getting lost might be the only way to find yourself and save your soul. It says it's historical fiction, horror, thriller. I don't know if I'm quite interested in this. The cover's really cool, but I don't know. I'll have to see what other people say because I don't think this might be for me. I really like the cover for this one. This is called A Land So Wide by Aaron A. Craig. This is expected September 2nd. This says, like everyone else in the settlement of Mistaken, Greer Mackenzie is trapped. Founded by an ambitious Scottish lumber merchant, the tiny town on the edge of the American continent is blessed with rich natural resources that had made its people prosperous, but at a cost. The same woods that have lined the townsfolk's pockets harbor dangerous beasts, wolves, bears, and the bright-eyeds, which are monsters beyond description who have rained utter destruction down on nearby settlement. But Mistaken's founders made a deal with the mysterious benevolence. The warding stones that surround the town will keep the bright-eyeds out, and the town's citizens in. Anyone who spends a night within Mistaken's borders belongs to it forever. Interesting. Greer, a mapmaker and eccentric dreamer, has always ached to explore the world outside, even though she knows she and her longtime love, Ellis Buford, will never see it. Until on the day she and Ellis are meant to finally begin their lives together, Greer watches in horror as her beloved disappears beyond the warding stone, pursued by a monstrous creature. Swiftly realizing that the stories she was raised on might be more myth than fact, Greer figures out a way to escape Mistaken for the very first time. Determined to rescue Ellis, she begins a trek through the cold and pitiless wilderness, but Greer is being hunted, not only by the ruthless bright-eyeds, but by the secret truths beyond Mistaken's founding, as well as her own origins. Playfully drawing from Scottish folklore, Aaron A. Craig's adult debut is both a deeply atmospheric and profoundly romantic exploration of freedom versus security, a stunning celebration of one woman's relentless bravery on a quest to reclaim her lost love and claim her future. It says a gothic retelling, historical fiction, fantasy, horror. That sounds really good, actually. I'm intrigued. I haven't read a thriller synopsis in a minute. I saw this one. This is called A Killer Wedding by Joan O'Leary. It's expected September 23rd. Juicy whodunit, debut whodunit about toxic family dynamics hidden beneath the surface of billionaire-level wealth that reads like The Devil Wears Prada. Protagonist played a game of Clue at a White Lotus hotel. Honestly, I love it. Christine can't believe her luck. The iconic Gloria Beaufort, we just read about a Beaufort, founder of the billion-dollar beauty empire Glow, has personally chosen her to cover her grandson's wedding for Bespoke, the cult fashion magazine that every A-list bride dreams of being featured in. A career-making scoop and a free trip to a castle turned 5-star hotel on the Emerald Isle. Emerald Isle? It feels too good to be true. Wait, is this Emerald Isle, North Carolina? I don't know. Because it is. Gloria is found dead on the very first morning of the celebratory weekend, and her entire family wants to keep her death a secret and for the wedding to march on. Oh my god. When Gloria's heirs issue a chilling warning to Christine to keep things quiet, she can't help but wonder if one of them is guilty. There's the son who's hiding a damaging lawsuit, the resentful daughter-in-law, the grandson who's had a few too many run-ins with the law, the ambitious granddaughter who's hiding more than one secret, and Gloria's favorite grandchild, the too good to be true groom. As Christine navigates a world where glamour masks grimy secrets and everyone she meets is a suspect, she realizes that among this glitzy elite, nothing is as it seems. Set against the dazzling backdrop of ultimate luxury and an endless reveal of surprises, A Killer Wedding is a fast-paced, humorous mystery that proves you'll never forget your wedding day, especially if it starts with a murder. I think I'm gonna read this one. I really like it. I adore this cover. This is called We Met Like This by Casey West. This is expected September 16th. Can a swipe right turn into swept away? Ooh. Margot Hart is a hopeless romantic. That's why she wants to be a literary agent to help bring romance books to the world. That's really cute. It's also why she hates dating apps with all her romance-loving soul. She wants her own love story to be just as much fun as the book she reads. A mixed-up coffee order, a mistaken identity. She's not going to tell the story that she swiped right on future husband's shirtless pic for the rest of her life. The problem is that her most consistent relationship over the last several years is with Oliver, a guy she keeps rematching with on the app. Why is she on these apps if she doesn't like them? They've only been on one date and it was a disaster. Well, until the makeout session in the car before parting ways. She keeps reminding herself a makeout session does not a relationship make. And so there will not be a date too, regardless of how witty their app banter is. When Margot gets fired from her job, oh no, on the same day she meets Oliver again, her life becomes a veritable shit show. Her dream career is dying right before her eyes, and Oliver thinks she's interested in only one thing, a repeat of the hot makeout session they had 3 years ago so she can get him out of her system. And maybe that is all she wants from him because she and Oliver are definitely not compatible. They are. He doesn't hit the snooze button, he runs 5 miles every morning, he reads nonfiction, and worst of all, she didn't meet him in a cute way. But in her scramble to keep her dream career alive by opening her own agency, Oliver is there with his golden retriever energy, more steady and helpful than any man she's ever dated. Just when she thinks she's overcome her app bias, she realizes that maybe it's not her who's holding back, but him. And his reasons are more than she bargained for. It says Casey West's romantic and sexy adult debut is full of witty banter, meet cutes gone awry, and ultimately true love. I will be reading that. That is so cute. And this cover, I really love that cover. Okay, I don't know what this is, but it's gotta be horror. This is called The October Film Haunt by Michael We Hunt. This is expected to be published on September 30th. It says horror movie meets the scope and emotion of Stephen King in this heart-pounding magnetic tour de force about a woman pulled into a cult horror film that is determined to have a sequel. What? It says 10 years ago, Jory Stroud was the rising star of the October Film Haunt, a trio of horror enthusiasts who camped out at the filming locations of their favorite scary movies, sharing their love through their popular blog. But after a night in the graveyard from Proof of Demons, perhaps the most chilling cult film ever made, directed by the enigmatic Helene Enriquez, everything unraveled. Now Jory has built an isolated life with her young son in Vermont. In the devastating wake of her viral, truth-stretching Proof of Demons blog entry, hysteria, internet backlash, and the death of a young woman, Jory has put it all, along with her intense love for the horror genre, behind her. Until a videotape arrives in the mail, Jory fears someone might be filming her, and the Enriquez obsessives who would do anything for the reclusive director begin to cross lines in shocking ways. It seems Helene Enriquez is making a new kind of sequel, and Jory is her final girl. As the dangers grow even more unexpected and strange, Jory must search for answers before the proof of the movie's title finds her and takes everything she loves. This riveting and layered horror novel unleashes supernatural terror in a world where truth can be manipulated and nothing is as it seems. Beautiful and horrifying, with an unforgettable cast of characters, the October Film Haunt will shock and delight readers all the way to its breathless final page. I don't know. I'll think about it. This looks like it's the start of a duology. It's called Sleepless or The Sleepless by Jen Williams. It's expected September 30th. It says, welcome to a world where gods and monsters roam the earth. Elver is the guardian of the wild and dangerous monster forest. Saved from the brink of death by a god, her skin will poison anyone she touches. Artair is on a mission, one that takes him face to face with Elver at her most ruthless, but her defenses are useless when she discovers he's the only human impervious to her deadly gift. Artair isn't human. He's one of the sleepless, cursed to share his body with an evil spirit. Loose Lucian inhabits their body while Ertair sleeps. Artair? He is hell-bent on manipulating Elver for his dark purposes, but Elver is harboring secrets too, and she has her own reasons for feigning an alliance with these two souls. Caught in the crossfire of gods, monsters, and a dangerous magic they can barely understand, it is only a matter of time before the path the three of them choose to take will set alight the very foundations of their world. With a love triangle like you've never seen it, okay, incredible world building, brilliant writing, and a dangerous quest, The Sleepless will have you spellbound. I think the love triangle like you've never seen it is because someone is inhabiting someone's body, but I don't know about this one quite yet. There you go. This one looks really cute. This is called The Austen Affair by Madeline Bell. It's expected September 16th. It says two feuding co-stars in a Jane Austen film adaptation accidentally travel back in time to the Regency era in this delightfully clever and riotously funny debut. That sounds really cute. It says Tess Bright just scored her dream role starring in an adaptation of Jane Austen's Northanger? Abby. It's not just the role of a lifetime, but it's also her last chance to prove herself as a serious actress. No easy feat after being fired from her last TV gig. And more importantly, it's her opportunity to honor her mom, who was the biggest fan of Jane Austen ever. But one thing is standing in Tess's way. Well, one very tall, annoyingly handsome person, actually, Hugh Balfour. I love when they say annoyingly handsome. A serious British method actor, Hugh wants nothing to do with Tess, whose Teen Choice Awards somehow don't quite compare to his BAFTA nomination. Hugh is a type A, no-nonsense Royal Academy prodigy, whereas Tess is a big-hearted, a little reckless, and admittedly kind of a mess. But the film needs chemistry, and Tess's career depends on it. Sparks fly, but not in the way Tess hoped when an electrical accident sends the two feuding co-stars back in time to Jane Austen's era, 200 years in the past, with only each other to rely on. This sounds so cute. Tess and Hugh need to ad-lib their way through the Regency period in order to make it back home and hopefully not screw up history along the way. But if a certain someone looks particularly dashing in those 19th century breeches, well, Tess won't be complaining. A wickedly funny, delightfully charming story, The Austen Affair is a tribute to Jane Austen, second chances, and love across the space-time continuum. I actually think I'm gonna read this one. This sounds really cute. Like, just looking at the cover, I was like, oh, I don't know, but that synopsis is really good. There's so much being released in September, you guys. I have two more that I'll talk about, and then I'm gonna have to wrap it up, but I am so excited. There's so much coming out. This next one is called No Rest for the Wicked. I love this cover. This is by Rachel Louise Adams, expected September 16th. It says, this debut reads like an edge-of-your-seat, heart-pounding, scary movie. Ugh, I'm obsessed. I wonder if like all of October's releases are gonna be horror, because I'm really excited. In one Halloween-obsessed Midwestern town, everyone's on red alert after a local politician goes missing. Little do they know, it's only the beginning. It's been close to 20 years since forensic pathologist Dolores Hawthorne left her hometown of Little Horton, Wisconsin. The town is famous for its Halloween celebrations, but also its history of violent deaths linked to the holiday. To Dolores, it's the place she fled, family, bad memories, and all, until the FBI calls to tell her that her father, the former mayor turned U.S. senator, is missing under mysterious circumstances. Sorry about that lighting. Some people count to 10 to wake up from a nightmare. Dolores always counts the bones of her head, sphenoid, frontal, what? Those are big words. But no matter how many times she counts them, it doesn't change the fact that her father is missing, that his final words of warning to her were to trust no one, and that now the rest of her family is giving Dolores a chilling welcome. With Halloween fast approaching, Dolores must face the past she left behind before it's too late. I love how one of the genres is labeled Halloween. I don't know about this one. It sounds interesting. It sounds more like a thriller than a horror. I'll look into it. And last but not least, oh my god, did I save such a great cover for you guys. This is called Breathe In, Bleed Out by Brian McCauley. This is expected September 2nd. Oh, and the little blurb at the top sounds so good. Also, there's the sun right here. You see it? Oh yeah, blinding myself. It's a Midsummer Scream, in this blood-soaked thriller set at a remote healing retreat from horror author Brian McCauley. Hannah has been running from her demons ever since she emerged from a harrowing wilderness trip without her fiancé. No one knows exactly what happened the day Ben died, and Hannah would like to keep it that way, even if his ghost still haunts her with vivid waking nightmares that are ruining her life. So when her friend group gets an exclusive invitation to a restorative spiritual retreat in Joshua Tree, Hannah reluctantly agrees in search of a fresh start. Despite her skepticism of the strange guru Pax and his belief in the supernatural world, Hannah soon finds healing through all the yoga, sound baths, and hot springs offered at the tech-free haven. But this peaceful journey of self-discovery quickly descends into a violent fight for self-preservation when a mysterious killer starts picking off retreat attendees in increasingly gruesome ways. As the body count rises and Hannah's sanity frays, she'll have to confront her dark past and uncover the true nature of a ruthless monster hellbent on killing her vibe for good. It sounds like a slasher and it sounds incredible. I'm so excited for this one. I'll probably read it. And that, my friends, is going to be it for all the new releases I'm going to be talking about coming out in September. There are so many books. I could have kept going. There was so many, but I feel like I've talked for way too long. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's any books coming out that you're super excited about, any that I mentioned in this video that you already have on your pre-order list or your wish list. I need to know all the deets. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.